Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Uncle nephew gunned down in Dunkirk. Two men who are said to be uncle and nephew were shot and killed in McIntyre Villa, also known as Dunkirk, in eastern Kingston on Wednesday afternoon. Reports are that the men were gunned down sometime after 1 p.m. They have been identified by their aliases Yellow and Benji. Heavy police military presence continue to be in the area. The police are investigating. Police following strong leads in Salt Spring triple murder. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Strang and Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson toured the Salt Spring community in St. James on Tuesday afternoon following Monday's triple murder. Members of the military were also on the tour. 7-year-old Justin Perry, 9-year-old Nicola Smith, and 27-year-old Tevin Hale died after being shot up in a taxi along the Flower Hill Main Road in Salt Spring on Monday afternoon. Commissioner Anderson told journalists that the police are following strong leads in their pursuit of the gunmen behind the recent flare-up of gang violence in Salt Spring. At this point, we have some good leads. I'm not going to say too much because obviously we're after the people who did it and will continue to deploy persons in the various spaces that we know where the challenge is and keeping things under control until such time, he said, promising joint police military operations to categorize the situation. There has been an upsurge of deadly shooting in Salt Spring in recent weeks. A couple was killed near the Salt Spring Primary School 2 weeks ago. The police high command says migrant criminals who have evaded the community are behind the violence. Deputy Mayor of Montego Bay, Richard Vernon, has called for the imposition of a state of public emergency in Salt Spring. Mr. Vernon said the security measure is necessary as there has been a spate of shootings in the area. Based on information they have been out there in the media and the information coming from the police, we see that several of these shootings have been linked to Salt Spring over the past few weeks, so a state of public emergency would be useful to bring the situation under control, he argued. But of course, it must be properly monitored so that there is no breach in human rights, because that is the major concern coming out of state of public emergency, the deputy mayor added. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says high level of crime in St. James led to SOE. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says the high level of crime in St. James led to the imposition of a state of public emergency in the division. He was speaking at a post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday morning. Major General Anthony Anderson states that 167 murders have been recorded in the parish as of Monday. He explains that the SOE will aim to disrupt gangs, noting that 180 illegal guns have been seized in the parish as of Monday. Commissioner Anderson says the SOEs have been effective in the past.
St. James has been one of the more violent parishes in the country, with organized and highly violent criminal gangs, affiliates, and breakaway factions engaged in deadly inter- and intra-gang conflicts. As at November the 6th, the St. James Division recorded 167 murders and 100 shootings, the highest violent crime recorded in any police division, and it is down from where it was. It is down, but we're in nowhere near where it should be. We've been arresting these criminal terrorists and violent offenders and disrupting and prosecuting criminal gangs and gang members. We have seized over 180 illegal guns in St. James alone, representing 30% of the country's total firearm seizure, which currently stands at 608 firearms seized since the start of the year. We've laid 916 firearm-related charges against 841 persons within the first year of the passage of the new Firearms Act. But despite this, the epidemic of violence persists at a scale and of a nature that greatly endangers the safety of communities and the vulnerable. We have seen the data. We have demonstrated through previous states of emergency that this methodology has been very effective in quickly reducing violent crimes. It's important to recall when the emergency powers were first brought into effect, St. James reductions in killings were 70%. We still have not and will not return to those days. An SOE at this time will allow us to optimize available resources, in particular the support from the JDF. This SOE will complement our suite of other policing activities and our operations that have already begun to intensify ahead of the Yuletide season as we surge in operations and in our deployments across the country.
Supreme Court clears Camina, strikes out lawsuit over Commonwealth campaign funding. Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister Camina Johnson-Simmet committed no breach related to corporate donations to her field bid for the post of Commonwealth Secretary General, the Supreme Court has ruled. The decision by a single judge was handed down on Wednesday, ending for now a lawsuit filed by Wilfred Rettigan, a Jamaican-born retired U.S. state law enforcement agent. The court also ruled that Rettigan, who was born and raised in Waterhouse, St. Andrew, does not have any legal standing to file the lawsuit. The former U.S. FBI special agent confirmed to reporters. He has been ordered to pay Johnson-Simmet legal costs. However, Rettigan said the court granted permission for him to appeal the decisions within the next 14 days. Holness blames PNP for troubles curbing murder in St. James. Prime Minister Andrew Holness has blamed the refusal of the opposition People's National Party PNP to support the extension of previous states of emergencies SOEs for the reassurance of crime in Jamaica. Holness made the comments as he rejected concerns that the announcement of a SOE for the parish was a knee-jerk reaction to Monday's murder of 3 persons, including 2 primary school boys in a taxi on the Flower Hill Main Road. We did not have the support of the opposition in using these emergency powers to deal with the beast of crime, Holness said while speaking at a post-cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House. Who is to be blamed for this, when the government has been reacting and responding, but cannot get the support of the opposition in putting in place the measures, he continued. SOEs allow for the security forces or authorized persons enhance powers of search and arrest and limit the right of the detained persons to due process. They expire after 14 days and can only be extended by the Parliament. The government has the required 2-termed majority of the House of Representatives, but must get the support from at least one opposition senator in the upper house for an extension.
But I think this country needs to stop sending mixed signals to criminals. They are not going to return any grace you give them. They are not reasonable people. They are terrorists, and they must be treated as such. What occurred is an act of terror. It was clearly the intent to send a chilling signal. No matter where you are, who you are, or whether you're in public, or whether innocent people are around, they are going to kill you. And they will use any means to do it. They don't respect your human rights. They don't respect your dignity. And they have no concern, none whatsoever, for your safety and security. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the assessment of the security forces that the situation in St. James merits this response and the use of emergency powers. I'm sure that that is not in debate. And for all parents, it must be a consideration in your mind that it could have been your children. And so we take this moment as we declare our response to grieve with the families and to encircle them and surround them with our prayers for comfort. Someone who may be a parent himself, obviously lay-weighted, someone who is a target in a public passenger vehicle, in a taxi, that any of you here today, if you were in St. James, anyone listening to me, you could be in a taxi. In a public space, opens fire, using a weapon that overpenetrates. It's a high-powered weapon. This is not ordinary crime. This is the worst of the worst.
Please remember to subscribe, like, share,